On the day of graduation, two young men walked side by side. Emmanuel's eyes shone with pride, his certificate in his hand glittering like gold. He had achieved what many thought impossible, a first-class degree. Everyone clapped, everyone cheered. He was the star of the day. Beside him stood Joseph. His result was good, but not as sparkling as Emmanuel's. There were no loud cheers for him, no lecturers calling his name, no parents shouting with joy. Yet Joseph smiled quietly, a smile of a man who carried something deeper in his heart, a dream that grades could not measure. That day, it looked like Emmanuel had won, but life is not always about who shines on the stage. It is about who shines in the future. Emmanuel and Joseph met on their very first day in the university. They became friends quickly, walking together to classes, eating together at the cafeteria, even studying side by side at night. But soon their differences began to show. Emmanuel was a bookworm. Morning till night, you would find him in the library surrounded by notes, textbooks, and past questions. He believed with all his heart that if he could graduate with a first class, the doors of fortune would open. The better your certificates, the better your life, Emmanuel would always say. Joseph nodded, but in his heart he disagreed. He believed life was more than a certificate. He wanted to own his future, to be a creator, a boss, a CEO. He often told Emmanuel, "My friend, I don't want to spend my whole life begging for jobs. I want to create jobs. I don't want to wait for someone's paycheck. I want to sign paychecks." Emmanuel would laugh and say, "Joseph, stop dreaming. The world respects grades, not dreams." But Joseph did not stop dreaming. While Emmanuel studied day and night, Joseph divided his time. He read his books, but he also started something small. He looked around campus and noticed a problem. Students were always busy, sometimes too busy to cook or buy food. So Joseph began a little food delivery service. He partnered with a local mama put food seller outside campus. Every evening, Joseph carried coolers of rice, beans, and stew, moving from hostel to hostel, selling to hungry students. At first, people mocked him. Some whispered, "Isn't he supposed to be reading? Why is he carrying food like a trader?" But Joseph ignored them. He knew what he was building. He was not just selling food, he was building a brand, building courage and training his mind for bigger battles. Of course, because Joseph was dividing his time, his grades were not as perfect as Emmanuel's. Emmanuel always scored higher, but Joseph didn't mind. He would smile and say, "My dream is not to top the class, my dream is to top the world." Years passed. The two friends graduated. Emmanuel's name was called first class, thunderous applause. His parents wept tears of joy. His lecturers shook his hand with pride. Emmanuel was the hero of the day. Joseph's result was second class upper. Good, but not loud enough to draw claps. People barely noticed when his name was called. Yet, Joseph's quiet smile remained. He was not worried about applause. He was focused on the road ahead. Emmanuel's dream came true quickly. With his first class, he secured a good job in a big company. His salary was 200,000 naira every month. The first time the alert hit his phone, Emmanuel jumped with joy. "At last," he said, "my hard work has paid off." Every morning he wore his suit and tie, carried his briefcase, and drove to work with pride. He was respected. He was happy. Joseph, on the other hand, returned to his small food business, but he did not stop there. He expanded. He opened a small eatery near campus. He reinvested his profits. Slowly, his little idea grew into something bigger. At first, it was tough. There were days he almost gave up. Some days he lost money, other days he faced insults from customers. But Joseph never stopped. He told himself, "This is not just about selling food. This is about building freedom." Months turned to years. Emmanuel married and had children. At first, his salary was enough, but then came responsibilities, school fees, house rent, hospital bills, family needs. The same salary that once felt like a river now felt like a dry well. Emmanuel began to struggle. He could not rest. Every month he waited for payday, and before the next month began, his money was gone. He had to beg for permission to travel. He could not stay home without approval. He worked like a machine, yet he was never free. Joseph's story was different. His eatery grew into a restaurant. His restaurant grew into a chain. He hired staff, cooks, cashiers, marketers. Some of them had better certificates than him. Some were even first-class graduates. But they all worked under Joseph's vision. Money flowed in from many directions. Even when Joseph slept, his restaurants worked. Even when Joseph traveled, his businesses sent him alerts. He bought cars, he built a mansion, he took his family on vacations. He was not just surviving, he was thriving. One day, Emmanuel visited Joseph's mansion. As he entered the compound, he saw Joseph's expensive cars lined up, saw his children playing freely, saw the peace in his home. Tears filled Emmanuel's eyes. He looked at Joseph and said, "My brother, we started together. I had the first class, I had the job, yet here I am struggling, and you, with your small business, have built an empire. How?" Joseph placed a hand on his shoulder and replied softly, "My friend, you worked for money, but I learned to make money work for me. You put your hope in a certificate, I put my hope in a vision. That is the difference." Moral lesson. This story is not to say education is useless. Education is powerful, but mindset is greater. Emmanuel chased a certificate, Joseph chased a dream. Emmanuel worked for money, Joseph made money work for him. Emmanuel lived in struggle, Joseph lived in freedom. The truth is this: a job can give you bread, but vision can give you a bakery. A salary can feed you for a month, but a business can feed generations. So, dear friend, do not put all your life into a piece of paper called a certificate. Use your education at it, but don't be a slave to it. Dream bigger. Think like an owner, not just a worker. Build something that will last. Because at the end of life, the race is not about who graduated first. It is about who built a future that could not be broken. The end.